Well, good afternoon, everybody on the YouTubes. I hope y'all are doing well. We got a lot of stuff going on today on our live Q&A session. I hope you're gonna enjoy it. So here, let's just make sure we're going and everything is good. And excellent. So if you're new to this channel, obviously this is guitar stuff, so we talk about. And every Thursday we do this live Q&A thing. These questions are fueled by viewers' questions that come in throughout the week. And if you want to be guaranteed that you're going to be featured, your question's going to be featured in this little deal, then you go over to patreon.com/DylanTalksTone and you can put your question there. And of course, we have conversations going on all the time over there, kind of not even having to do with today. We've got a bunch of other stuff going. The other thing we started over on patreon.com/DylanTalksTone is our once a month guitar setup, repair, guitar stuff class. More one-on-one, really super fun. We had a couple, we did the first one this past Sunday. There was 3 of us there. It was absolutely a blast. Just to be able to interact for real, because we use Zoom, and you know, everybody brought a guitar that they wanted to talk about or ask questions about, and we were able to actually work together on solving some problems and getting each other on the right path with, you know, with a couple of repairs and really specific stuff. We went really dove into how to adjust neck relief, which was it was an awesome subject. It went really well. It was a blast. Then the next one, we're going to talk about nuts. We're going to actually cut a nut for a guitar. We're going to do that during that class. That's going to be sometime. This one was the end of April, so sometime the end of May. If you go over to patreon.com/DylanTalksTone, you'll be all kept up on how that works and what the dates are and all that kind of stuff. Super fun. It was so much fun. I can't even tell you. The cool part about it is that we're archiving everything. So if you do go ahead and take one of these classes, as long as you're taking these classes, you can also access the full unedited ones that maybe you missed, that you can watch and replay. So really cool. It was super fun. We had a really good time. Today we're going to answer some questions from Patreon. We're going to try to get to some in the feed. If you have a super chat, I will make sure that I get it. We've got a lot to talk about today though, so let's get right into it. One of the things we're going to do while we answer questions is we are going to work on the Schecter C1. I've got all the pickups out of it. I've got the Fishmans right here, and we are going to drop these Fishmans and the pots and everything into this guitar and get this ready for the video demo of these Fishmans. And then we're also going to talk about the 40,000 subscriber giveaway guitar that I have right here that I've already done some work and some upgrades on, that we're working on a video. The other thing I want to tell you, besides the fact that I'm having a beer today with you all, is that I'm going to challenge myself to shoot a video every work day of the month in May. I don't know if I'm going to shoot on the weekends, but I'm literally going to try to vlog guitar related stuff every day in the month of May. I don't know 100% how it's going to work out. I don't know if I'll even be able to pull it off. It's going to be a lot more more vlog style, just a GoPro on a selfie stick and a microphone and just doing it. And that way you guys can see kind of more behind the scenes stuff that we've got going on around here, how we make all this stuff go. So that's a thing that we're going to do today. That's a thing that we started today. The first one will come out probably tomorrow afternoon, and it will be about today, and it will be May 1st tomorrow when it comes out, and then we'll go from there. I think it's going to be kind of fun. Is it going to be like super in-depth videos? Probably not, we're going to still have our normal video schedule and our normal live on Thursday schedule, but this is just something for me to push myself, to be more creative, to do stuff I haven't done before in this way. And I just wanted to try it. So this is more for me to just mess around and see what happens, but I also wanted to share it with you because I think it's gonna be fun. All right, let's get into these questions on Patreon. Is there any science to describe any effect that you may or may not, there may not be on the neck joint from hanging a guitar on the wall over a long period of time, specifically the natural force of gravity pulling down on the guitar? This, of course, assuming that humidity and temperature are maintained. No. For instance, this guitar stand right here, this is one of these zither guitar stands, and it's hanging just like it's hanging on the wall. This guitar could hang here forever and it wouldn't hurt it. I have heard people try to make up stuff about that. The thing is that a guitar, the general architecture of a regular guitar, we're talking about like over 100 pounds of string tension. We're talking about an instrument that has to be structurally rigid to function, to stay in tune. If your guitar was going to stretch or be stressed by just hanging there, you would have way more other problems before you ever realize that. So yeah, no, there isn't anything to that. I've heard people try to say it, but in practical, actual terms, no. Do you know of any tuners that are specifically designed to be lightweight, to ease the pain with neck diving guitars? I have an SG style guitar and a semi-hollow 12 string, which dive like crazy, and the tuners are the only things I could lighten up. You could go with more traditional tuners, such as, while we're talking, I'm going to go ahead and throw the pots in this guitar. You could go with more traditional tuners, such as like a Clusen double line, for example, that is a lot lighter. Somebody had mentioned Waverly also could it be a thing. I don't know. I've never really cared about that, so I don't have a list off the top of my head. A lot of the better guitar sites will give you how many grams they are, and that will help you in that search. One of the cool things I learned today while working on this, you know how when you put new pots in a guitar, usually they have 3 millimeter threaded shafts on them. Not 3 millimeter, 3/8 inch threaded shafts, like the higher quality, like Bourne's pots type of stuff. These pots are a 25K pot, like almost like what you would have in an EMG set for this Fishman set, and they are like little tiny shafts. So you could put this into an import guitar, and you wouldn't have to worry about boring out the holes. Like, for example, when I replaced the pots, we'll get to that in a little bit, but on that Gretsch right there, it was a cheap guitar with 7 millimeter shafts, and I had to drill the holes out bigger. Hang on one second. I think I saw a super chat blow by. Larry Perez, thanks for the super chat. If you had a question, I will try to answer it, but I didn't see one come along with that super chat, so I appreciate that very much. Let's go ahead and thanks so much, Larry. Let's go on to our next one. What are your thoughts on the string butler? Remember what that thing is? String butler is that thing that goes right here. You would use it on like a Gibson, and it keeps the string angle, the pull angle, straight. You know, on a Gibson, they kind of like fan out. Well, even on this Gretsch right here, it comes through the nut, and then the strings kind of fan out to the sides. I'm going to be straight with you. I personally believe that any problem that people have with that is a made up thing. It's like you're buying a thing for a problem that isn't really a problem. Guitar people, we do this a lot where it's like, oh, that looks like that. So this must be, it must be this way because that's how it looks. When in reality, it doesn't apply that way and it doesn't really work out that way. The only time you would ever have an issue is if your nut wasn't cut correctly and then the string pull was causing you to have binding or tuning stability problems. But if your nut is cut correctly, then you won't have that and it will be fine. It's like a band-aid to a problem that doesn't exist as long as you set the guitar up right. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, it's 50 bucks. Yeah, if you want to try it because it's a gadget. You know, we buy a lot of stuff that's just, hey, this is cool. I think I want it. But it's not really you're not really solving a problem because there was no problem there to begin with. I mean, really, when it comes down to it. Let's see. Where traditionally solid body guitars are concerned, such as a Les Paul, would a chambered or weight-relieved body cause any difference tonally compared to the identical guitar with no chambering? This is a very interesting question. So here's the thing about Larry. I saw that super chat you popped in there. Thank you so much. And I will get to you in just you're next up. So when we start talking about chambering, it depends how the chambering is done. If you look at a Les Paul, it's not chambered, it's weight relieved, and there's a difference. When you weight relieve a body, but you leave the neck joint alone, and you leave the center mass of the guitar largely alone, and you leave the bridge mounting position, the pickup mounting position, all that stuff, if you leave all that alone, mostly it's not going to matter. Now, a 335, that's a different story. A thin line telly, that's a different story. When you start to vibrate the pickups when you start to move the pickups other than the body itself, like when the pickups are suspended, for example, on trying to think of a guitar, like these big hollow Gretches that don't have any center block in them, and it's basically a big acoustic guitar with pickups in it, and that pickup is moving the whole time, yeah, it makes a difference. When it's just weight relieved and the overall mass of the body is basically still the same, everything's the same, it's just you've just taken out some holes more or less underneath. No, you're not gonna. And the thing is you could blind taste test this yourself. Have somebody hand you a guitar, set it in your lap, and you play it. What's really funny about that is people get onto this whole resonance thing, but just because it feels different in your lap doesn't make it sound different. It might sound different to you, but if you're standing in the room blindfolded and I play a chambered Les Paul versus a solid Les Paul, you won't be able to tell the difference. If you're holding it in your lap, it's possible that you might. How much impact, Larry, we're getting to you. How much impact does neck through design have? There was a really good article on this and I'm just going to defer to this for the moment. I've done a lot of experimenting with this. This is a neck through guitar, this one here. And I've had the bolt-on version, I've had the set neck version, and I've had the string-through body version of this exact guitar, this Schecter C1. And there was a really good Premier Guitar article on this. If you Google it, they'll talk about how they tried this with like basically a piece of wood, and they bolted the neck, then they set the neck, and then they did neck through. And what they found was it was pretty much purely psychological, that it was not a major tonal difference at all, if any. There's going to be bass players all over the world that are going to say that is a complete load of crap and that it makes a huge difference. But people put way too much stock in the neck joint of the guitar. As long as it is solid, it is solid. And I don't mean so tight that it doesn't need screws. That's stupid. People do that and they cause themselves issues. There should be some movement in here. There should be some room for this, but it should be, what's the way to say it? Almost like a machined surface. Like it should be flat on flat. And when you bolt it down, there shouldn't be any voids in it. Like it should be a good transfer of energy from here, from the neck to the body. But bolted neck versus a string through neck is going to be the same as long as it's solid. Honestly, it's going to be the same. As long as it's solid, as long as it's done properly. Let's see. And it looks like we froze up on our chat for a second. So hopefully that'll catch up here in just a minute. Regarding Telecasters, many aftermarket hardware companies like Callahan and Glendale, for instance, claim the thickness of the material of the bridge plate with a traditional Tele ashtray bridge can make an impact on resonance, sustain, and tonal response. Is there anything to this? Those Callahan, for example, those bridges are really solid. They work good, and they're good. But when they do that whole test where they like hang them up and like clang them and like, oh, this one's tuned, and come on, man. Really? Like, the thing with a guitar is, if you do not have any loss of energy in the wrong place, the tone is going to be good. That's all there is to it. I'm talking the mechanical setup of the guitar, not pickups, not electronics. When we're talking about this guitar right here with no pickups in it, and we put strings on it and we play it, I'm not talking about, oh, that guitar is so resonant when it's unplugged, so it must be amazing. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about mechanically, when we strum the string and there's no buzzes and there's no other losses of energy in the guitar other than the note that we're playing, then you're going to have a good guitar. And it can be a $39 guitar, but as long as it's set up right, there's no rattles, there's no buzzes, none of that stuff, it's a good guitar. It looks like my internet, I'm using cell service for you, but I'm using my Wi-Fi for the chat feed, and it has dumped me off. So give me a second while that thing does that, and we'll catch up. I'm going to keep going through these other questions. How is it different that different pickup magnets carry different tonal characteristics? A layman like myself would tend to think that magnets could simply be weaker or stronger, and most tonal characteristics come from the winding of the pickup, but this is obviously not the case. This is a really good question. Okay, so when we talk about magnet strength, what we're really talking about is the magnet in relation to the coil in relation to the strings. The strength of the magnet is going to affect the inductance of the coil. That's all there really is to it. The thing that's neat about it is that the shape of the magnetic field, which obviously can be affected by the strength of the, like a ceramic 8 versus an A3 are going to give you two different shapes of magnetic field. They're also going to give you different intensities in the magnetic field. Uh-oh. I think I have to get that other hardware. This hardware does not fit. It gives you different intensities of inductance in different parts of the coil. So, for example, a P90 with two big magnets on the bottom, it's not strength or weakness. It's that the magnet makes it to where the magnetic field is stronger in a different part of the coil than another part of the coil, if that makes sense, relative to each other. Yeah, this has its own. These have their own hardwares. Trying to keep all this together too, because we're going to give these pickups away once we're done with them. I feel like I'm missing something here. Bear with me just a second while I figure this out. All right, well, we'll deal with that in a minute. Let me see if this feed has come back. It has, sort of. Let me just kind of get caught up here. All right. We're almost through all of our questions on Patreon, I think. Oh, here's an interesting one. I didn't expect this. In fact, this person over on Patreon messaged me and they were like, is it okay if I ask like a more off-the-wall question? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. No religion or politics. That's the only rules. Anything else, whatever, man. It's cool. So here's his question. Do you remember the moment when you realized that you loved the guitar and who your biggest influence was? And then he told me his story about who his biggest influence was. So my guitar playing history is a little different. My dad owned a guitar store when I was really small. And so I've been like coiling up cables and working in a guitar store since I was a little kid. And we had a recording studio. My dad was a jazz guitar player professionally. That was how he made our living at the time, was the music store and jazz. And I got my first guitar when I was probably like, I don't know, probably 4. It was a Stella 3/4. Orange to red sunburst. And it hurt my fingers. And I remember trying to play and trying to play and trying to play. And it hurt my fingers and it hurt my fingers and it hurt my fingers. And I kind of quit. And then when I was about 8 or 9, I started playing again. And my dad had this, it had to be old. I had to be older because he gave it to me when I was like 14 or something. The red Stratocaster. If you go back to some of my older videos, you'll see this red Strat. I still have it. And he gave me that guitar. And as far as influences are concerned, Stevie Ray Vaughan was the number one. Stevie Ray Vaughan was absolutely the number one and probably still is to this day. You've probably heard me say it a bunch of times. I'm not a massive fan of like classic rock stuff. It's just not my thing. I'm just not a big like. I enjoy the historical significance of Led Zeppelin. I do not enjoy listening to them. I enjoy the historical significance of the Allman Brothers, but I do not care. I'm over classic rock. Like, let's make some new music. So, and that's always been that way. I've always been, what are people actually playing now? What are, when Pearl Jam first came out, when Soundgarden first came out, all the Seattle stuff, it wasn't as good of quality of music at the time, but it was good and we liked it. And so, yeah. But Stevie Ray Vaughan was my #1 influence of all time. My favorite guitar player. Still is to this day my favorite guitar player. Even though I don't like worship him and get up in the morning and listen to him every day, and I don't do all that stuff. Like, that's not my personality. But he is definitely the one. We are missing a screw, so I'm gonna have to figure that out because I think these are threaded differently. All right, let's run over here real quick to this. Isn't a thin line telly just weight relieved? It is not. A thin line telly is not weight relieved. It is actually semi-hollow. It's not just like grooves taken out of the wood to relieve weight. It is actually more or less like a semi-hollow guitar. It has, some parts are still solid, but there are big voids in it. Not to the extent of for example, a 335, but close. And I guess it depends which one. Like, it depends how you do it. All right. What is A pot or B pot? That is referring to linear or audio taper, actually. Hang on one second. We're going to go over here and answer a couple of these questions that came into our YouTubes. And then we're going to talk about this guitar. Let's see. I don't know why my internet is so slow. What's the percentage of guarantee of breaking the paywall with your question grants you versus asking them below? We're not going to get to everybody today. So, I mean, really. Let's see. What are my favorite gear channels? I like That Pedal Show. I like Anderton's for the purpose of keeping up on what's new. I've been following Guns and Guitars for the more budget build stuff. Yeah, a few things. I don't actually watch a lot of gear related stuff. I watch more other stuff that I'm really into, that I really enjoy, other than guitar stuff, because guitar is cool, but there's lots of other stuff that's cool too. I can't trust you about tone if you don't like classic rock. I don't care, honestly. What's the rule? Pick up the string height. It depends where you're from. We say two dimes and a nickel in the United States. I guess that's 150 thousandths of an inch, which is approximately 3 to 4 millimeters. something like that. And what I typically do when I adjust pickups is I just fret the very last note on my low E and I raise it up to where it's not going to buzz against the neck. And that's how I adjust the neck pickup. And then I adjust the bridge pickup to be equal with it. And then I decide, is it all too loud? Is one louder than the other? And then I just kind of mess around with them until I get my liking. But that 150 thousandths of an inch, that 2 dimes and a nickel, that 3 or 4 millimeters, 3 millimeters, I guess it would be something like that. 3 to 4 millimeters is a good baseline to start from. What am I drinking? I'm drinking Founder's Dirty Bastard. It's like a Scotch ale. Have you ever been to Woody's Bar in Ishpeming? I plead the fifth. I'm constantly looking for my next guitar hero. Yeah, dude, that's the thing, man. Like, it doesn't have to be the same stuff over and over again for 50 years, right? It doesn't. I'm the same way. I want to see something new. All right, before we let you go today, because we're getting on about 30 minutes here, we're going to talk about the giveaway guitar. So, if you are not aware, we're giving a guitar away for free. I was really hoping my UPS shipments got backwards this week, but I was really hoping that my Bigsby was going to be here. So I'm going to tell you what I ordered for this thing. I am really, really, really excited about this build. When we hit 40,000 subscribers, we're going to give it away. You have to be a subscriber to the channel to win it. Have to. And you have to go to DylanContest.com. I've been getting emails saying I don't know how to do it. It is very simple. DylanContest.com. There's like 3 or 4 lines that you fill in there. Your name, the country where you're from, and what your YouTube channel name is, so that I can check and make sure that you are subscribed. If you are in the United States, you have a shot at winning this guitar. If you are not in the United States, we're going to give you a set of pickups, a loaded pick guard. I don't know. We're going to let you choose, and I'm going to give you a few $100 to play with, and we're going to make you some stuff and send it to you somewhere in the world. So just because I can't physically ship a guitar somewhere else in the world, it's really, really expensive. I actually have to ship a guitar to the Ukraine in a few weeks when it's done. I'm building a guitar, and that thing is going to be like $450 to ship that guitar there. So I can't afford to do that with a guitar giveaway. So I'm sorry about that. However, you're going to get a really cool thing anyway, because, you know, it's going to be awesome. So we're going to make sure that we do that. Yeah, no, this is super cool, man. For me, a great guitarist needs to also rock an acoustic guitar. Absolutely. That's kind of a little known thing. I mean, Dylan Talks Tone is all about electric guitar stuff, but do you know I probably 80% of the time play an acoustic guitar? Probably 80% of the time. I have a Breedlove. It is for sale. If you're in the United States and you want a really, 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 really good guitar, I have, about 4 years ago, 2016, I had an artist deal with Breedlove. And Tom Bedell's daughter, like, handpicked me a guitar from the factory and sent it to me. I had to pay for it. It wasn't free. But that guitar is a United States, Oregon-made, rosewood back and sides, spruce top, Dreadnought Premier with an ebony fretboard, pretty inlays. This guitar is beautiful, and I want to sell it. So I think I'm going to try to get $1,300 for it. So if you want a really good guitar, a really good acoustic guitar, let me know. Because I want something different. But I do want another acoustic guitar, but I just want something different. All right, so back to this thing. One of the things that people always ask me is, do pots make a difference to the tone of your guitar if all you do is change the pots? So on our video on Monday, that video is going to come out on Monday, and we already switched out 2 Bourne's 500K pots, but that's all I did, nothing else. So that video is coming out on Monday. This guitar is going to get, here's what the build is after everybody's input, after everybody commenting, this is what we're going to do. And then I put my own little twist on it too. Some people really wanted humbuckers. The last guitar we gave away had humbuckers in it. I was like, nah, we're giving away these humbuckers, you know, enough humbuckers. So, but I'm compromising. Here's what we're doing. We're going to do a neck single coil. So this is going to be one of our Dylan pickups, humbucker size P90s is going to go in the neck. It's going to be like a Duesenberg sort of thing. And then we're going to put a humbucker in the bridge, but I'm going to make a special humbucker for it that I don't normally make ever. Because if it's good and everybody likes it, then I'll go ahead and add it to the website. So it's a Filtertron, but it's a humbucker. It's not actually a Filtertron. These are not Filtertrons. Everybody's like, you just need to put new, you know, replace the Filtertrons in it. These are not Filtertrons. These are just humbuckers in Filtertron clothes. That's all they are, but they're just regular cheap humbuckers. And they're kind of terrible. So single coil in the bridge, neck, humbucker in the bridge. We're going to do a coils. We're going to do a phase flip. No, we're going to do a serial switch. That's what we're going to do. Serial switch right here. We're going to be able to push and pull and put them both in series. It's going to get a Bigsby B50. I'm not putting a B5 on it. I'm putting the licensed one on it because they're expensive. So we're putting a Bigsby B50 on it with a roller two-pneumatic bridge, provided everything fits, because this is a weird bridge spacing. So I'm hoping that it works. If it doesn't work, we're going to have to do something else. But provided it fits. I did a bunch of measurements and I think I got the right stuff, but we'll just see when it gets here. I got Grover Rotomatic. They're not Rotomatics. They're Grover locking tuners. I got a Zero Glide nut. So this thing is going to have a 0 fret on it. If it fits. That's the other thing, that if it fits. This is an interesting neck width. And so I got a make your own kind of deal so I can make it, but I just want to hopefully we'll have a video specifically about 0 frets, because I've never done it on camera before. So that's going to be fun. So we're going to talk about those 0 glide, 0 fret, retrofittable 0 nut, 0 fret. And then that pickup here, Bigsby here, new tuners. This thing is going to be a monster of a guitar, and somebody's going to win a really, really cool guitar. Once we finish the Schecter C1 setup, that's going to be done in the next 3 weeks, because I've got to give it back to the owner. Somebody is going to also win this set of Fishman Fluences. They're brand new. We're just going to use them in this demo, and then we're going to take them back out and give them to one of you. The other thing is, in the next couple weeks, I've got another one of these zither guitar stands that we're going to give away. We got a bunch of stuff. We got a bunch of stuff going, so nobody's getting left out. A lot of this stuff can be global this time. Make sure that you subscribe and make sure that you keep hanging on, and I think you're going to dig it. Subscriber lost, who cares? If you don't fit in our community, that's okay. I understand. I broke my pots and I ordered new ones, and then I broke those ones. I'm about to start making classical guitars. That's funny. Yeah, man. So that's it. We got a lot of stuff going. This is really, really fun. And I just want to share that with you. Keep an eye out over the next few weeks, because we're going to make a video every day. and you're going to see some stuff that you don't normally see. So I'm really excited to be able to share this. I mean, if you don't like them as much as you like the other videos, that's okay too. Like I said, this is just something fun that I wanted to try and see what happens. So thanks for hanging out. This has been really cool. And I hope everybody has a great weekend and stay tuned. And again, make sure you subscribe and go to dylancontest.com. That is how you do it. And I hope everybody has a good one. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all later. Now I just have to go hit the stop button.